Hello, welcome to our channel. This channel deals with the fire journey of a family. Our net worth goal is $5 million. So the markets have taken down from this month. We have lost quite significantly, about 150K. Not nice to see, but ride the lows and wait for the highs. This is how we're tracking throughout the years. Steady growth trajectory, which is what we love. And this is the breakdown. The taxable accounts took most of the hit. Those are accounts where we have less index funds and more individual stocks for the wrong reasons. But that brings our total to about 4.3, a point 4.13, which is, I'm still surprised we're above the 4, but awesome. So this month has been a travel focus month. There's a different section at the end to deal with what we did, but basically we were traveling this entire month, so that's why you see this sort of like um, different shape of the graph. And just in perspective, this is a whole month of us traveling. So that's why travel's high, and restaurants we've been eating out a lot. So that's why it's there. Entertainment is again travel related expenses and the rest of the expenses. So we still have to pay for our house. So utilities, insurance, internet are all house related. Phone was a lot of data plans while we're traveling. Childcare was just some prepaying for a class the kids are taking this year. So all of this has brought our total expenses to just above 9K. For us, it's super cheap. And again, this is a whole month of traveling. A little bit about us. We are two working parents with a W-2 income, nothing else, and three kids ranging from age from 7 to 11. And we live in a high cost of living area, which explains some of the costs you see here. Um, it's very expensive to live here.
Travel budget plan in retirement is 3K. So we started collecting data about our various vacations, and the rest of the video is various vacations and their breakdown of cost.
So this is a different kind of vacation we were trying for preparing for slow travel and things of that nature. So this is a month-long trip in Southeast Asia with some very cheap countries like Vietnam and some very expensive countries like Japan. So you'll see sort of like different mismatch of things together. So flights, it's expensive to get there, but internal flights were very cheap. Food, since part of the trip was in cheap countries, some of it was inexpensive. In the cheap countries, we ate out mostly, and in the more expensive countries, we I would not say cooked, but more like ate supermarket type food. Stays, it's a combination of Airbnb and hotels. Again, like the expensive places were $300 a night in high cost of living countries, and in cheap countries, it was $100 a night. For what I would say comfortable accommodations, not the highest end, but uh, a lot more than we're used to over here. Entertainment, yeah, you travel for a month, you do sort of like excursions and things of that nature. And in the cheap countries, it was $100 a day for our family, but in the more expensive countries, yeah, it does get expensive. Especially, we did Disney Japan, which, yeah, Disney is always expensive. Shopping, we bought a few things, nothing extravagant, mostly knickknacks and things of that nature. But in expensive countries, like I mentioned, it does get expensive. Cheap countries, not so much. Transportations, mostly Ubers. We did not rent cars. We're not comfortable in driving that part of the world. So this was Ubers, Lyfts, things of that nature. So that brings our total vacation for a month to 18,000. It is expensive, but about like 8,000 of this is just the flights to get there. So that aligns with our sort of slow travel goals post fire, where we can hang out in a geolocation for a bit longer. Um, yeah, super cheap. That part of the world, relatively speaking. So if we extrapolate this to like a 2 month summer vacation type thing, well below our 30K expected budget. So yeah. So this was a different type of vacation. We drove to Alaska for the most part. Several kids joined midway and left midway. Um, but this was a long vacation. Food we cooked out. We camped for some of it. Restaurants not that expensive, not that much restaurant amount of restaurants. Um, I mean Alaska is pretty rural for the most part, so yeah, the restaurants are just not that abundant. And doing the drive up there via Canada, it's just fast food restaurants along the way, nothing too fancy. Stays were more expensive than we expected, but this is to do with us opting to sleep in hotels more versus our original estimate of camping. This was to do with the midnight sun and the heat from it, as well as the sun, which caused sleeping outdoors more challenging than we expected. And even the hotels didn't have blackout curtains and things of that nature, but they're not that expensive. Like the cheapest one was $100, and the most expensive one was $250. And they ran the gamut towards the lower range. Entertainment, we did a few excursions. The bigger one was a glacier landing that about 1800 from this amount, and the rest were for smaller type excursions. Shopping, we didn't do a lot of. We enjoyed the outdoors, so we spent more times there than in shopping areas. Transportation, this is for fuel mainly since we use our own car. So as you can see, it's like driving up there and driving back down and traveling there. Not that expensive. Like fuel in Alaska is actually cheaper than several states we passed, which was a big surprise. Some rural parts of Alaska and Canada did have more expensive fuel, but we spent $20, $30 extra for those sorts of things. And this brings the total over about 4 weeks of vacation to $10,000, which is $65 per person per day, which is like one of the cheapest vacations we had. Most of it to do with several nights camping and using our own car, which, yeah, was a surprise for us, and it makes Alaska a appealing destination because of the nature and the rural aspect of it. So this is our Hawaii vacation breakdown. Flights were about $4,000. Food 600. Restaurants 660. Um, we didn't eat a lot outside for some of it. Stays are the most expensive part. A because we stayed at luxury um, resorts and paid the price for it. Happy to. Entertainment was again excursions, luau, things of that nature. Shopping, not that much. Not because we didn't want to buy anything. It's just like we enjoyed being outside and doing things often, and we just skipped a lot of shopping. Transportation is mostly rental cars for the different islands we were on. Um, Not too expensive, comparative speaking. We did have a car, I think, about 90% of the days. Um, yeah, just not as expensive as I expected. I mean, this is post-COVID, so prices have come back down.
Of the vacation, $12,000, which breaks down to the five of us of $170 per day per person. Just the adults took to Japan. So this is just for the two of us. Flights were relatively expensive. The stays was mostly hotels throughout the time, which is a bit surprising considering the lower cost of Japan compared to what we budgeted and planned. It was relatively super cheap to compared to even a Motel 6 in the US, a high-end hotel over there. Vacation was about 6,500, which is about $160 per person per day. This was about a 2.5, 3 weeks vacation. It was partially traveling and partly just working. Vacation we took for the five of us. This does not include RVs or anything to that extent. This was hotels and driving around in a rental car. It is comparatively more expensive than we imagined with this sort of like road trip type vacation, which is a little surprising compared to the rest, but good data to have. Vacation to 8,200, which comes up to about $100 per person per day. The vacation we took with an RV, so that's why you see flights here are zero because we took an RV and traveled throughout. That's why you see transportation is very expensive. It was mostly that sort of like rental of the vehicle and stays. So the stays you see here is basically campground fees, various campgrounds. Sometimes we dry dock, sometimes we offer the kids. Went to an RV that campground that had more facilities like a pool, etc. That vacation to about $4,000, which is comes out to about $100 per person per day. Vacation we took in New York City, Manhattan. We stayed in a downtown, very nice hotel. Um, it was like I think a 3 or 4 day weekend sort of thing. So pretty expensive for like a quick, large, long weekend, but it is something we occasionally do expect to do. So that's why it's like it's super expensive. Like relatively, it's not that much, but it's very expensive per day. A Manhattan is an expensive place to stay, but also we did a lot of activities in that jam-packed weekend. Another Hawaii vacation. It's different than the one earlier in this video, but it is nice to see like the difference between them. Again, this was a flights, high-end hotels, and some Airbnbs as well. So a combination of both, and pretty awesome. Of this vacation to 6,600, which comes up to about 120 dollars per person. Of the vacation took in California. Everything's pretty cheap compared to the other vacations we've had. We just found it very interesting to see the differences. California is still an expensive place to visit and stay, but it is convenient. California vacation to about $180 per person per day. So half of New York, but more than a road trip slash RV vacation. Zero. We're planning to continue with that. It really helps. We struggled for years to pay this down before we started making these videos. So thank you for watching, and we plan to post about a video every month or so with our updated net worth.